Sometimes love doesn't arrive wrapped in certainty. Sometimes it stands in front of you, trembling, unfinished, afraid. You look at the person you love, and your heart says, "My love, I want to marry you." And then the silence comes. The but, the hesitation, the weight of past wounds, the fear of not being enough, the shadows of yesterday whispering that maybe you'll lose this too. I know that feeling, the desire to give everything, and the fear that everything might not be enough. This speech is not about perfect love. It's about brave love. It's about standing in front of the person who means the world to you and choosing courage over comfort. It's about healing the parts of you that still doubt, still ache, still question whether you deserve forever. Because sometimes the strongest words aren't just, "I love you." They're, "I'm afraid, but I'm choosing you anyway." I have been standing in front of this moment for a long time, longer than you think, longer than I ever admit. And every time I imagine saying these words, they come with a heartbeat that feels too heavy for my chest. My love, I want to marry you, but that but is not doubt about you. It is not a question about us. It is the echo of everything I have survived. It is the shadow of nights that taught me how quickly beautiful things can disappear. It is the memory of loss that carved silence into my bones. You see strength when you look at me. You see calm. You see someone steady. But strength is often just fear that has learned how to stand still. Calm is sometimes pain that no longer makes noise. And steady is what happens when you've fallen enough times to understand that the ground will always be there. I want to marry you, but I am afraid of how much I love you. Because loving you is not light. It is not casual. It is not something I can hold with one hand while protecting myself with the other. Loving you requires both hands. It requires my whole body. It requires trust in a future I cannot control. I have lived through moments that taught me not to hold too tightly. Life has a way of reminding us that nothing is guaranteed. People leave. Time shifts. Plans break. And somewhere along the way, I learned to prepare for loss before it even arrived. So when I say but, what I really mean is this. I am learning how not to prepare for losing you. I am learning how to believe that love does not always end in tragedy. I am learning how to let joy stay without asking it how long it plans to remain. I am learning how to look at your smile without imagining the day I might miss it. I want to marry you, but I am still healing. Not from you, never from you. You have only ever been gentle. You have only ever been patient. You have only ever stood beside me, not demanding perfection, not rushing my pace. But healing is not a straight road. It is a quiet, stubborn process. It is waking up some days strong and other days remembering everything at once. There are parts of me that still flinch at happiness, parts of me that wonder if I deserve something so steady, so warm, so real. I carry old stories in my chest, stories of love that didn't survive, stories of promises that dissolved into silence, stories of holding hands in hospital rooms, and learning that forever can be shorter than a breath. And yet, here you are. You are not loud about your love. You don't demand grand gestures. You don't need fireworks to prove that something matters. You show up. You sit with me in quiet rooms. You listen when my voice grows distant. You understand that sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is stay. That's why this is hard. Because what you offer is not temporary. It is not fragile. It is not built on fantasy. It is built on patience. And patience is powerful. Patience asks for commitment. I want to marry you, but I want to do it as a whole man. Not as someone running from loneliness, not as someone trying to fill a wound, not as someone who thinks marriage will fix the parts of him that still ache. I want to stand in front of you without unfinished grief, whispering in my ear. I want to promise you forever without fear interrupting the vow. You deserve a man who chooses you from strength, not from fear of being alone. You deserve a partner who walks toward you, not someone who clings to you to avoid falling. And I am walking slowly, steadily, toward that version of myself. Some nights I imagine our future It's simple. There are no dramatic scenes, no perfect lighting, just mornings with quiet coffee, evenings where we sit side by side, not speaking, because we don't need to. The comfort of knowing that the person across the room is home. I want that. I want the ordinary magic of building a life with you. I want the arguments that end in understanding. I want the shared silence after a long day. I want the small traditions that no one else will ever notice, but that will mean everything to us. But I also know that marriage is not just love. It is responsibility. It is choosing the same person again and again, even when the world feels heavy. It is showing up when you're tired. It is apologizing when you're wrong. It is staying when things are uncomfortable. I have learned how to survive alone. That was my lesson. Independence became my armor. Solitude became my shield. I built a life that did not require anyone else to hold it together. And now you are asking me to lower that shield. Not with pressure, not with force, just with your presence, with your steady belief that love can be safe. That is the bravest thing anyone has ever asked of me. I want to marry you, but I need to trust that I can be vulnerable without breaking. There is a difference between loving someone and allowing them to see you completely. You have seen my strength. You have seen my humor. You have seen the calm surface, but there are deeper waters. There are currents I don't always understand. Sometimes I am quiet, not because I am distant, but because I am remembering. Sometimes I pull away, not because I love you less, but because loving you so much scares me. The more real something becomes, the more it feels like it could be taken away. That is the paradox of love. The deeper it goes, the more it matters. And the more it matters, the more courage it requires. I am not afraid of commitment to you. I am afraid of losing you. I am afraid of building something so beautiful that the thought of it breaking would destroy me. But here is what I am beginning to understand. Avoiding love does not protect us from loss. It only protects us from living. You have never asked me to be fearless. You have only asked me to be honest. So here is my honesty. I love you more than I am comfortable admitting. I love you in a way that reshapes my future. I love you in a way that makes the idea of alone feel outdated. And that is why I am here, standing in front of this moment instead of running from it. I want to marry you, but I want to do it with open eyes. I want to understand that there will be hard days, there will be misunderstandings, there will be moments when we question ourselves. Marriage is not immunity from pain. It is a promise to face pain together. You have shown me that partnership is not about perfection. It is about presence. It is about sitting beside someone in the dark and saying, I'm still here. I can do that. I can stay. I can learn. I can grow. I can choose you. Even on the days when choosing feels heavy. The but in my sentence is shrinking. It used to be large. It used to echo. It used to feel like a wall between us. Now it feels like a bridge I am crossing slowly, carefully. I am not the man I was years ago. I am not defined only by what I have lost. I am not limited to the fears that once protected me. I am someone who has seen darkness and still believes in light. Someone who has known grief and still chooses hope. And hope is what loving you feels like. When I look at you, I don't see a risk. I see a future that is worth the vulnerability. I see laughter that softens my edges. I see a partnership that doesn't try to change me, only supports me. You never rushed me. You never demanded answers before I was ready. You stood beside me, patient, as I untangled my own hesitations. That patience deserves clarity. My love, I want to marry you, and I am learning to let go of the but. I am learning that courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in spite of it. It is stepping forward even when your hands shake. It is trusting that love is not a trap but a gift. I cannot promise you a life without storms. I cannot promise that I will never struggle. I cannot promise perfection, but I can promise effort. I can promise that when things get hard, I will not disappear. I have disappeared before, into work, into silence, into solitude. It was easier than facing pain, but with you, disappearing feels like losing something sacred. You have given me a new definition of strength. It is not about enduring alone. It is about allowing someone to share the weight. If marriage means sharing the weight of life with you, then that is not a burden. That is an honor. I am still healing. I am still growing. I am still learning how to hold happiness without bracing for impact. But every day with you makes that lesson easier. You have shown me that love does not have to be loud to be powerful. It can be quiet. It can be steady. It can be patient. It can be kind. And I am ready to build something kind with you, not because I am fearless, not because I am flawless, but because I believe in us more than I believe in my doubts. The but is no longer a barrier. It is a reminder of the journey it took to get here, a reminder that love, real love, is not impulsive, it is intentional, it is chosen. So when I say, my love, I want to marry you, understand that these words come from a place that has known both darkness and light. They come from a heart that has been broken and rebuilt. They come from someone who understands the fragility of life and still chooses to commit to it fully. I am not offering you a fantasy. I am offering you myself, imperfect, honest, present. And I am stepping forward not because I am unafraid, but because loving you is worth every fear I have ever carried.